So today we're talking about possibly one of the most beautiful looking IEMs that I ever laid my eyes on. I mean, I'm looking at it right now and it's just dead drop gorgeous. Just look at these pictures from the brand. Oh, they're amazing. And it looks even better in person. Like I said, I'm looking at it now and it's so mesmerizingly beautiful. Let's get into the unboxing. So here's the Skuld. This is the box and you can see absolutely beautiful big Skuld right here up front. There's details absolutely everywhere. My name can be deceiving. I do what I must. This is a 5BA IEM and up here, live only for honor. Removing the lid, the first thing you're gonna see is this pan flip right here, Skuld. And it contains the story of Skuld, I believe. Yes, it contains the stories of Skuld, the backstories, and you can go and read this if you want to. It's very detailed and very well made, so really great addition to this package. And finally, the inside of the box, what you've been waiting for. Kinera Skuld sit right there. Final E-tips are up here. These tips are fantastic, expensive tips. Very fantastic that they included in here. You get some foam tips down here, the Kinera carrying case, and inside the carrying case is where the cables are gonna be. The cables themselves comes in a default 4.4 connector, but as you can see here, 2 more connectors. You can turn it into a 3.5 or 2.5 as you like. So here are the cables up close. They're grayish and silver in coloration. They feel very nicely built. They don't get tangled so easily, which I really love. They're really nicely built cables, very well done. I forgot to mention, inside of the lid, you do get some writings in there as well. Crafted with elegance, evolved in perfection. Thank you for choosing Kinera Imperial. Special thanks to Sound Earth. Hey friends, Timmy, welcome back to another video on Giz Audio. And today we have, of course, the beautiful Kinera Skuld. And man, did I say these were beautiful already? I just love how these look. Compared to everything else in my collection, which I own quite a few, these are just, man, they're amazing. And I think just because of how they look alone, we're not even getting into sound yet. Just because of how they look alone, they would make fantastic gift. Amazing gift. Birthday gift, anniversary gift for your girlfriend or even your boyfriend, because you know, anyone can use this, boy or girl, doesn't matter. But yeah, these are just so pretty that if you buy this for someone as a gift, they would just absolutely love it. Now, let's jump on to the sound. What do these sound like? So overall sound, I would say these have a very smooth signature from bass all the way to treble. Everything just feels a little bit ethereal in a way. Everything feels a little bit on the reverby or blending together in a way, but it's done very tastefully. And on the right tracks, on slower songs or on songs that feels more smooth and relaxing in general, these just sound perfect. Like they sound beautifully done. They sound ethereal and it's just really nice to listen to. I've fallen asleep wearing these before because they're just so smooth, so relaxing. I really enjoyed the whole signature of the Skuld. Now, let's jump into the breakdown one by one. We're gonna start with the bass. So the bass on the Skuld is on the neutral side with a little bit of an elevation. I wouldn't say boosted, it's really not that far, but there is some bass, so it's not a straight flat line like an Etymotic would be. It does have some bass, more mid bass than there are sub bass, and the bass here again has a very smooth, almost buttery appeal to it, but it's really gonna sit behind the background a little bit because it's not really the focus of these IEMs. Overall bass control is good, it doesn't bleed into the mids, and in terms of sub bass versus mid bass, you're gonna get a lot more mid bass than you would the sub bass. Sub bass is there, is present, and on some songs that does have that sub bass focus, you will feel a little bit of a rumble in your chest area, but don't expect too much. Moving on, we have the mid-range, the vocalists, the instrumentals. How do they sound? Now these have a little bit of almost a reverby kind of effect to them where it echoes just a little bit, not too much. It's very tastefully done and it serves to really add to that dreamlike appeal of these IEMs, add to the overall smoothness, and it really makes Skuld its own kind of signature. I don't recall listening to anything else that's similar to Skuld, except for one other IEM, which is also from Kinera, which is the 992 that I also really like. And fun fact, this is actually my first ever high-end IEM, my first ever expensive pair of IEMs. I love it, and they have a similar ethereal, reverby kind of feeling that overall adds to the whole smoothness of the IEM, and they're just very fun to listen to, especially on the right tracks. When you listen to something like a jazz track or orchestra tracks where you want to relax or wind down at the end of the day, these are so good and very good for falling asleep too. So yeah, I've fallen asleep many times with the Nan Nan. Not yet with the Skuld, but I've fallen asleep many times with the Nan Nans. And these, the Skuld, again, share that similarities with the Nan Nan too, which I love. Next is the treble, and these are fantastic. Extremely safe, no peaks, no sibilances, no fatiguiness whatsoever. These are just perfect for anyone who's treble sensitive like I am. And the extension on this is also quite nicely done as well, especially in the lower treble area. It has enough extension there to make female vocals and instruments feel full range. Now in the airy region of the treble, the mid treble or the higher treble, these do kind of fall a little bit towards the tamer or more subdued or darker side. And that's really up to your preference if you think that's good or bad. For me, I think it's perfect because again, it avoids every peaks, it avoids all the sibilances. So for me, that is perfect. But for those of you who want a little bit more spiciness, a little bit more singiness in the treble area, these won't have that for you. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But the overall treble response, love it. Smooth, no peaks, no sibilance, very safe. Moving on, we have the last part of this review now, which is the technical performance. We have the imaging, of course. We have the soundstage, separation and details. How do these do? Now let's start with soundstage. Soundstage on these are not very wide, but it is very tall. Like it's vertically tall. So it has this kind of grandiose, very big sounding stage, but just not on the wide side. It's on the more vertical side. So the sound coming off of these will feel bigger than they are. So tracks like orchestras or jazz or anything where you want to have a more grandiose type of sound, it will sound really good off of these. Any tracks that has a more atmospheric type of vibe as well also sound fantastic with this kind of soundstage. Imaging wise, I would say is average. It does have a layering effect, so you do feel some instruments further away, some instruments closer, but being that it's not a wide type of stage, you won't really be able to guess where each instruments are in relation to each other. You'll be able to tell where they're coming from in terms of direction and also the depth, which one is further, which one is closer, like I said before. But in terms of pinpoint accuracy, you won't get that with these IEMs. And for me, at this price, that's not really what I care about. The depth of these IEMs and the vertical soundstage is already enough to give everything this kind of bigger feeling. And for me, it fits the theme of these IEMs completely, and I have nothing to complain. On to details and separation. These, for me, are not detailed enough to be a studio set or to be a technical set, work set. For me, it's more on the relaxing side. You do get a lot of details with this, especially macro details. Every instrument feels distinct. There's no smearing, which is really nice. The one thing that does suffer is the micro details, the little nuances. Those you won't get too cleanly with this. So again, I don't really recommend this set for like studio work or reference work. What I do recommend this set for is, again, when you're trying to relax, when you want to just wind down at the end of the day, you want to sit on your couch, you want to go on the bed, you want to maybe fall asleep to a really nice track and a warm cup of tea or whatever. These are fantastic for that, and that's what I use these for. I use these to relax, or I use these when I just want to calm myself down. It might not be the most technical sounding set, but that's okay because details isn't everything. Something that's way too detailed doesn't mean it actually sounds that good. In terms of just how good and how pleasing these sound and how much details you get with this, is very good, very pleasing sound, and again, for casual listening, for lounging around, highly recommend these. All right, guys, that is it for this review of the Kinera Skuld. Now, normally I would have an alternative section where I would compare this IEM to similarly priced IEMs, but to me, I really haven't tried anything at this price that sounds similar to this that's worth comparing. Other IEMs just have different signatures, and I don't think it's a fair comparison to compare just totally different signature IEMs because they serve just different purposes. This one is very casual, very relaxing IEMs, and other sets that I've tried, not saying that there's not other relaxing IEMs out there, it's just I haven't tried them all, because I'm not rich and I can't buy every single thing. For the ones that I've tried, they're just too different to compare to this, so no alternative segment for this video. I will say one thing though, is that if you like the signature of the Nan Nan 2, the Skuld is basically Nan Nan 2 without the sub bass. Same smooth feeling, same relaxing, loungy, kind of casual listening experience, just This has sub bass and bass. This has a lot less sub bass and bass. Basically, if you like Nan Nan 2, you'll probably like the Skuld. Like myself, I like the Nan Nan 2, so I like the Skuld. All right, guys, that's it for this review today. Thank you so much for watching. Next week, or next video, not next week. I'm trying not to be gone for a week. Next video, Blonde A8. Prometheus. Yeah, excited to crack into this one. So yeah, stay tuned for this coming in the next video. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Bye.